Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hey, good morning. That was a good morning, actually. Let me get the adjective in there. It's the 14th of May. It's a Tuesday. Apparently, we're going to be warming up today. Thank God. And, some days I wake up and think, oh, gosh, what am I going to talk about? This is not one of those days. Good Lord, do we have a lot to talk about. And here to help me is my kid sister, Susan, in St. Louis. Hi, Suze.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm echoing. Okay, that's better.
Okay, good. So, there's lots of news. It's heavy news. It's dispiriting news. It's depressing news. It's, what drives me nuts about this is all of the efforts by the Republicans to somehow manufacture and or gin up some
and here's something
scandal.
Real, guys.
Yeah, and now they've been handed on a silver platter not one, but two bona fide scandals.
No, and there's no way out of it. That's what really gets me. I mean, denials of knowledge from the White House, to me, are like, I'm sorry, keep your house clean.
Yeah, it doesn't cut it.
There's some rules, like you have rules. You don't break the law to get what you want.
Right. And I want to make clear that the two I'm talking about are the IRS and the Associated Press.
You mean not Angelina Jolie's breasts?
No. Nor Benghazi. No. And I want to, although, just to, since you brought them up, Susan, and just to digress, it's a very smart thing she did. And
I have a friend that did the same thing.
I do too. And I credit her. It's a very tough call to make, but maybe not. I mean, if you carry this gene, your odds for getting...
There was absolutely no doubt, and all she felt was a huge sigh of relief.
Right. If those breasts are, it's probably going to kill you, you get them off. And so and in that regard, she will be very helpful to other women who maybe don't even know if they have this gene,
Especially a woman who makes her living, as a sexualized human being.
Right. And we'll continue to do so.
Flat out state, I'm still her.
Yeah, right, absolutely. So, okay, we'll get past that.
But anyway, yes, we digress, sorry.
Yeah, truly. Obviously, the verbiage on all of this is approaching tsunami-like proportions. So, I'm just going to read a few sentences from a local columnist here, Tony Norman, regarding this. He says, "Honesty compels even the most partisan Democrat to admit that Mr. Obama is a maddeningly passive figure by the standards of modern Washington." I will skip and go on. "It's not enough to point to a dysfunctional Congress in ascribing blame for the sorry state of our politics. The president's tendency to let events happen to him has created a power vacuum that undermines an otherwise worthy agenda. It also creates the perception of corruption where there may only be benign ineptitude. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think it's, stupidity on the, run rampant. But it's stupidity born of this this political atmosphere where, I've been reading all of the apologists for, what happened, and the main one being that the reason that they were targeting those groups is because those were the bulk of the people that were suspected of being inappropriate because the evidence was in front of everybody.
Right.
But, that's like saying to me, so their argument is the reason that they were only targeting people and using those words is because they were the ones that were doing it. And there wasn't a similar group on the left doing it, or they would have been targeting them too. And my answer to that is, if you don't look, how do you know?
Exactly right. Also, the and I don't know why I'm missing it now. I think it was the New York Times that has pointed out today that looking at these particular 501c4s that are supposed to be tax-exempt groups that are doing social welfare activities, right?
Right.
Not political activities, social welfare activities. But lo and behold, the IRS did somehow give 501c4 status to Karl Rove's Crossroads GPS group, which is clearly, engaged in
it's a stated purpose.
It's unbelievable. And there's some on the Democrat side that they gave the status to and walk away. So the big boys got the status.
Well, wait
and
a minute. Let's be clear. They didn't actually deny any of these people. They just harassed them.
Yeah, but they didn't harass Karl Rove.
No.
And this is typical IRS, is it not? You let the big boys go and you harass the little guy. Typical. It's
like pulling the wings off of flies.
Yeah, that's right. It's just to be.
And it's so un-American. It's what I want to say to everybody. Can we just try and remember what it's like to be an American and what that means and why once upon a time we were honestly proud of that and waved our flags about that, and that now it's all this jingoistic, horrifying,
empty,
and it gives
empty
rise
jingoistic.
to this sort of crap.
Yeah. So the other thing, for any, there are no apologies. You cannot. This is.
No, you just have to step up and take responsibility and
the
admit
thing
that
is
it's wrong and, oops, we'll clean this right up. Sorry.
Right, and a lot of people disappointed in the president not saying boo about this until yesterday's joint press conference with the English Prime Minister, David Cameron, and only in response to a question. And then he only said, this is, he condemned it and blah, 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 and ain't gonna stand. But a lot of people said he just should have said, it wasn't a strong enough response. He should have said, heads will roll. He should have said it before he was asked.
I'm shocked and dismayed that this would happen in my administration. We'll get to the bottom of it pronto.
Well, he just seems... the word that Tony Norman used in the column, there's a passivity and a lack of energy that is driving me crazy, and a sense of, you can tell he feels like he's being unfairly targeted. That's the Benghazi stuff. And the only passion he showed was in his anger about that. And I'm with him on that. But even that could be handled with with a little more smoothness, to say the least. Susan, I happened upon a quote from Lanny Davis, who was in Bill Clinton's White House. I think we have a call. Okay, Suze, we're going to hope that we don't knock you off, but here we go. Here we go!
Okay, good luck.
Okay.
Nope, I think they stopped calling.
They stopped calling. Suze, are you still there?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Well, if they call back, we'll get them right in. Lanny Davis, who was the special counsel for Bill Clinton, which was an administration that certainly had its share of scandals to deal with. And consequently, Lanny Davis knows something about how a White House should respond to that. And here is his quote, and he sounds so dispirited. He says, honestly, I voted for Obama. I support his policies. But his crisis management communications team is absent without leave. Ever since they lost the message on health care, I have wondered if there's anybody in that White House trying to get out in front on the facts, and I haven't seen any evidence of it. Ain't that the truth?
Well, it is the truth, and that's exactly how I feel. I still support the policies of this president.
Yeah,
and I still support the president.
Right, I do too. But we've got a caller, Suze. Let me try to get him.
Stand up, guys. You.
I'm sorry. Did you knock her off?
Hang on. Stand up. Shake it off.
Hello.
Get back to work.
Good morning.
Okay. Hi,
Hey,
Suze.
I agree with you on all that.
Yeah.
They should fire whoever, did this. But the thing that really irks me about all this bullshit is, where was the outrage when Bush lied? And I hate bringing this shit up over and over again, but that bastard lied. Cheney, Rumsfeld, all them goons lied, and nobody did a goddamn thing about it. But all of a sudden now it's so important, this trivial thing that doesn't really mean that much. Fire the person, problem solved. But the bastards now are going to make a big ordeal of ethics and all this bullshit. They didn't care before, though. It just gets to me every time these bastards do it. Every goddamn time. We'll see. Have a good day.
I know.
I
it
love
gets
them.
to me, too.
I know. But...
I mean, they're just like an itch that you can't reach, or that bug that manages to keep crawling away every time you squash it under your heel.
Okay, so speaking of the bastards that he was talking about, did you see Dick Cheney's comments about about Benghazi? Did you see that? He called it. Here's Dick Cheney on Benghazi. One of the worst incidents I can recall.
Oh, yeah. Minus that whole war thing.
Yeah, minus hundreds of thousands of human beings dead as a result of you finessing cynically this country into a needless war. Dick! How about the intelligence failure on September 11th, 2001 on your watch, Dick, where not just 4 Americans died, as in Benghazi, but over 3,000. Dick! One of the worst incidents I can recall. F you. Have a good day. I wish I could say have a good day and hang up. I do. Geez, that caller, if you're still there, man, do you have an easy job? Damn. Jeez. Okay, and here's the thing about firing. People say, fire the people. Guess what I just read on the bus on the way in here? The president, listen to this, because of what tricky Dick Nixon did. Why are they all named Dick? It's almost as if...
Prophecy.
Yeah, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Is because when Dick Nixon was the president and he used the IRS, I mean, he got on the phone and said, hey, You guys at the IRS, I got a list here. It's people I really don't like. I want you to ferret through all of their tax returns. I want you to find me a reason where we can get at them. Okay? That's what Dick Nixon did with the IRS. Okay? This is much, you have to admit, more egregious than this ineptitude and malfeasance.
But I think this comparing of who did who's lower on the bottom rung is highly unsatisfactory.
I know it doesn't get us anywhere. But I point it out because after Watergate, after all of this came out, what they did with the IRS, what they did with the burglaries, what they did with the I mean, just that this was a extraordinarily criminal and corrupt White House. The Congress passed a law, and that law does not allow any direct communication from the White House to the IRS. It is against the law for the White House to talk to the IRS. If the White House has a question maybe about something regarding the IRS, they can they can pick up the phone and call the Treasury Secretary.
Right, you call the Secretary of the Treasury.
But I mean, this shows...
Who is, by the way, his appointee. So it's not as if he doesn't have some way in.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. So the president could not, I mean, the White House, the odds are their hands are clean in regard to what happened with this, with the IRS.
Yeah.
Possibly. However, the other thing is people are saying, so fire this woman who heads it now. Just get rid of her. Guess what? You can't do that either. She is civil service. She is not a political appointee. So, she could. You can get rid of her if someone's her boss, and if in the natural course of events her performance is reviewed and she's found lacking, she can be, relieved of her duties. Right, but it can't be. In other words, the president can't.
The president can't go in there and order it, but the president sure as hell can make his feelings on the matter known, and channels can be followed.
Right, but he can't say off with her head. He cannot do it. He does not have the authority to do it, nor does he have legally the authority to even call her up. So all of those, and there's been a lot of, including Senator Rubio, who said the president must fire this woman immediately, which just makes him look like the, wet behind the ears.
He doesn't know the rules. Right?
Yeah, wet behind the ears person he is. So anyway, back to Lanny Davis, who I'm going to, because here's a guy who was with an administration, as I said, that really got to handle much bigger scandals and certainly knows how to do it. He says the growing controversy over the IRS's targeting of conservative organizations, he says, this is very, very serious stuff. He says, he completely dismisses Benghazi. He says that is such a bunch of crapola. But he said, this is very, very serious. This is Washington, he says Benghazi's Washington politics at its worst. But he said the IRS story goes directly to what all of the loons on the right are forever doing. Right. And that is spinning conspiracy theories about how this government is abusing its power, right? And here, again, on a silver platter. And here's what Davis said Obama should have done the minute this story broke. He should have held a press conference, committed to a full 100% investigation in concert with the Republican leadership of the House. And he should have said, I want to have on my desk the list of anybody who recommended doing this in the government, in the White House, anywhere, else. He also says that Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi have also been MIA. They have not been assertive. And he said this is a scandal that the Democrats have to own, and they are mishandling it. That's for sure.
Well, I hope they're paying attention to what people are telling them.
Jeez, God. And then...
I mean, and they keep saying, this is just somebody's stupid idea, and they didn't realize how dumb it would look from the outside in. And I'm thinking to myself...
That's not...
I don't care.
No.
Why are people allowed to have these stupid ideas that nobody pays any attention to?
No.
Why isn't anybody asking the most obvious of all questions?
I mean, oh, God, this is like sort of basic stuff. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Well, okay. And, so last night while I was tearing out my hair about the IRS, bango comes the AP story, which
right.
I want to get into. And frankly, that one is every bit as egregious. It's the same kind of thing. It is an abuse of government. An abuse of government and an abuse of people's constitutional rights. It is such a and let me tell you, the interesting thing about it is the reason that these abuses are happening, and the reason that people have to really be re-educated about how they do things is because you have the ability to do things easily by computer that you couldn't do before. I mean, before you couldn't say, let's just target words like Tea Party and Patriot, and the computer will just pop all these things out for us, and then we look. Before you had to, painstakingly go through all these and come up with correlations of it. You never would have done that. Susan, that is so true, and it brings up all of these issues that the Obama White House will be the first White House to have existed totally in this new and potentially extraordinarily invasive technological age.
Know how to when to slap your hand before you take what is just there to be had.
Well, it brings us even to Obama using drones more than any other president and doing a lot of things that no other president has done. But almost everything that he's doing is technologically driven, and that technology will continue to allow government and authorities to do things that they couldn't even dream of doing before. And the ability to put the brakes on this kind of stuff is probably not something you're going to see a lot of evidence of in the halls of power. Once they can, the odds are they will. So I just get ready for just more and more and more and more of this kind of thing, because it's possible now, as Susan said. And I do think that's a big thing underlying all of this, too. You'll see more and more and more of this, no matter who's in charge, Democrats, Republicans, or pink elephants.
Person sitting in front of their terminal will have a brilliant idea and say, I bet you I could do it much easier if I did it this way. They'll access all sorts of things that they didn't have any right to have, but they'll get their little task done pronto.
It's a brave new world, guys.
Yeah.
Taking a break. We'll get into the AP thing a little bit when we come back. And I have some lighter fare because I thought that this could get distressingly and depressingly heavy. So don't run away if this is getting you down. We have a yuck or two in your future.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Go to BergBargains.com for great deals on gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, attractions, and shows. Like us on Facebook or sign up for our weekly email updates for your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to Kennywood. BergBargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. BergBargains.com.
Speaking of nonprofits, locally there's a marvelous nonprofit called Paddle Without Pollution. And this is a group that tries to educate us about our rivers, tries to make sure that they are kept clean. And they are holding their now third annual Pittsburgh Paddle Without Pollution event on June 8th. That's coming up on a Saturday. And you're invited. They'll give you a kayak, they'll give you a canoe, and off you go, either on the Monongahela, the Allegheny, or the Ohio. It doesn't matter. You'll all start from someplace, and you'll all end up in the same place at the confluence, at the point. And on your way, you will have picked up garbage in the river. Last year, they got over 4,000 pounds of garbage and debris from the three rivers. And this year, they expect more people, so there'll be more, believe me. This is a wonderful event. Not only do you help clean up the rivers, but you get some really good exercise, too, and they'll give you food, entertainment, prizes, and all kinds of stuff when you get done. So sign up for this, baby. Here's how you do it. Go to www.paddlewithoutpollution.com. That's June 8th. Stick it on your calendar.
It's warming up outside, so get to Little's for all your spring needs. Little's has everything for men, women, and children to stay in style for this upcoming hot summer. Lots of great colors from Dansko, New Balance, Steve Madden, and much, much more. Don't forget to come visit this season's colorful handbag selection as well. Little Shoes, Pittsburgh's largest family shoe store, 5850 Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn@pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Okay, so the Associated Press story. Understand that the Associated Press finds out, just yesterday, I believe, they're informed, that for the last 2 months, the government, the Justice Department to be exact, has been secretly collecting months and months of telephone records of the reporters and editors of the Associated Press in various locations. And they were doing so because there had been a story written by the Associated Press about a foiled terrorist attempt to take down an airplane, a passenger airplane. And this is about a year ago. I think it's exactly a year ago, actually. And they were attempting, the Justice Department, to find the leaker, because this was something the government had not wanted to publicize. You would think they'd want to publicize it when they, when they foiled a terrorist plot. But for whatever reason, anyway, somebody told somebody at the AP. And so the Justice Department is ferreting through all of these phone calls, this is and that, looking for who did it. It has been said, Susan, that there has been no administration in recent memory that has been more zealous about absolutely clamping down on leaks coming from the White House than the Obama administration. And that surprises me, because I remember George W. Bush's administration was extremely hard on leaks, and generally there weren't many from them. But the Obama White House has absolutely, clearly a zero tolerance policy. But it led, in this instance, to something that is just, if you ask me, it's a clear violation of the First Amendment. However, I'm no constitutional lawyer.
No, and there is this national security exemption.
It's not.
Or exception, and therefore it's literally a jury question. It's a trier of fact that needs to decide.
So it needed to go before a grand jury to get a subpoena?
Well, yeah, I would think that would be the legal channel if somebody is claiming that their rights are have been abused. Their constitutional First Amendment right has been abused, and then the government comes back and says, yeah, but we have good reason to believe that a leak that really has a huge amount to do with our national security originated, somewhere in this chain, and we have a right to plug it.
So let me.
So now that's the question. I find this all very troubling because at the very least this is extraordinarily overbroad. No sort of search warrant allows you to essentially go on a fishing expedition, which is right. What this was.
That's right. And this is what Jeffrey Toobin, who is, I guess he's at CNN's legal analyst and a constitutional lawyer. Here's what he says. It is not a violation of. Here's what he says. There is no privilege in federal law that allows reporters to protect their sources. I did not know that.
No, I didn't know that either.
Okay, he says there's no privilege in federal law that allows a reporter to protect his or her sources. But he said that past administrations have avoided doing what the Justice Department has done in this case. He goes on to say, I have never heard of a subpoena this broad, as you said, Susan.
Right.
He says it's legal, as far as I can tell. The administration is not violating the First Amendment, but they are certainly doing more than has ever been done before in pursuing the private information of journalists. And we'll see if there's any political check on them, because there doesn't appear to be any legal check on what they are doing. That's interesting. Anyway, the White House has said through its spokesman, Jim Carney, we were not aware of this. Of course, they said that about the IRS. And you don't want a White House spokesman faced with all of this news continuing to say, we were unaware of this. We were unaware of this.
Because then the answer, what happened to the good old buck stopping where?
Yeah. And what happened with knowing what's going on in your name in the government?
Right.
What's fascinating about this is the AP story brings together the most ridiculously strange bedfellows. You've got, of course, every Republican, as far right as you want to take it, and you have the ACLU, and you have the guys at MSNBC, and you have Democrats. There is nobody who is going to stand with Eric Holder's Justice Department on this, and God help him. And I think, whether it was Holder signed off on it or whoever, that is one head that Obama could roll.
Well, I'm looking straight at Holder.
Yeah.
I mean, it is his job to know, and I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't. If indeed the White House was this concerned with this leak, and and communicated that kind of concern.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, completely in agreement with you. Yowie. And at the very least, I feel comfortable in saying this. The president is being ill-served. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just feel like there's just this bunch of, gung-ho, revved up people go, it's just as bad on one side as it is on the other.
And I wonder how much everybody, before his reelection, a lot of people were saying things about how, second terms are always a minefield. And wow, his second term is in its infancy, and what a minefield. And I'm wondering if there is a mindset that occurs when you win re-election in an administration, where things do sort of loosen up, and or you know, the underlings feel a certain power or an aggressiveness. I don't know, but this is the curse of the second term is a long-standing meme in American political history. But wow.
Well, I just sort of feel like, you know, like every once in a while school districts, you know, all teachers and administrators go, you know, in all professions, you go through courses where you prove that you're staying up on what your field is. And I sort of feel like government employees, from, you know, the president through the Senate, through the representatives, through all of the civil service employees, need to get some brush-up courses in the Constitution and what they can and can't do and what their job is.
Yeah.
Because I don't think any of them are acting like they know it.
Well, the Congress hasn't been acting like they
the
have
Congress
a clue.
Is, you know, we know what's going on with the Congress, and it's up to the public to change it, and that's our responsibility.
That's true. We put them there. God, they
we
should
put
all be
them there.
tossed.
We've got an election coming up. If we're as unhappy with this as we say we are, then we need to do something about it. And that means that you don't keep electing the same, saying that the problem is everybody but your guy.
That's exactly right. Well, jeez. Yeah. Here is an email. As an unashamed Obama apologist, this is being written, my problem is the inverse proportionality between the severity of the scandals and the media outrage. Okay. Then he goes on to say, this IRS scandal deserves as much outrage as those that actually threatened to take away tax-exempt status. And then he goes on to historically list all the times that the GOP threatened... They threatened a church, an Episcopal church in California, then IRS Commissioner Mark Everson in 2005 and 2006, because he was delivering anti-Iraq war sermons. The church was put under investigation by the Bush administration's IRS. Do you recall that? No. The IRS more famously targeted the NAACP in 2004 and hit them with an audit over accusations of improper political activity. And, of course, the NAACP was hardly a supporter of the Bush administration. The Bush IRS collected a contractor hired by the IRS in 2006 collected party affiliation via a search of voter registration rolls in a number of states. There's a lot of states here. It looks like about 20 of them. And the question obviously would be, why? Why would the IRS have any reason to know anybody's political affiliation? That was 2004. Also in 2004, the Wall Street Journal reported that the IRS audited Greenpeace. So they, okay, I understand this. I mean,
yeah, I just don't take any consolation from, but they're worse. I want to be better. I want to be not illegal.
Here's the other thing. Media loves scandal. And the Obama administration has been very stingy in giving them scandal.
They did just fine their first term.
First term, there was none, really, no scandals at all. And it's unheard of.
You know, this isn't like lying to get a war started. I got that.
Yeah.
And it's not like, not like when J. Edgar Hoover, was doing all sorts of things that he was doing. It's not like that.
Right.
But And I like Obama, too. I'm not turning my back on Obama in any way, shape, or form. But that doesn't mean that it's okay for us and wrong for them any more than, from their point of view, it's okay for them and wrong for us.
Right.
You know,
right.
It's
All you have to do
wrong.
Right. All you have to do is imagine we got a Republican in the White House, and we find out the IRS is targeting liberal groups, as the IRS apparently has when Republicans are in the White House. And maybe, as usual, Republicans scream louder than Democrats do. And, maybe we're not. If Republicans are about anything during Obama administration, it is ceaselessly casting around for something to hang around his neck, right?
Right, so I hand it to him.
And so now they friggin' handed it to him. All right. So here's Dorothea. For those of us who felt politically renewed upon the election and then re-election of Barack Obama, I found myself giving up last night as I watched Fox gloat and MSNBC try to stand tall, as I reminded myself that the unemployment rate is now 7.5% and that the Dow is up over 15,000. I know that these positive signs of a recovering economy will no longer find their way onto the front page. Not for months or more. Well, that's true. This will be again, as I said, media love this, and they aren't good at putting it in context or in ranking the level of outrage that a scandal should in fact create. So here we have it. The more immediate impact could be on the 2014 election, which is not good. And clearly, with the ramping up of the Benghazi stuff is really an effort to hurt Hillary Clinton. My guess, yeah. Because
and which absolutely everybody can see.
And that one ain't. That one does not have traction. Every poll taken of Americans show that they think this Benghazi thing is a lot of hooey.
Every American knows that nobody wanted those people dead.
No.
And everybody has a slightly icky feeling that it's terribly inappropriate to be using their deaths in such a political fashion. I think people just flat out don't like it.
Well, let's hope they say. But this other thing, there's no cover for these other two.
No.
Here's Rich. Since the far right and the far out are drooling with conspiratorial pleasure over these recent events, allow me to suggest my own conspiracy theory. Is it all that much of a reach to think that a party distraught over their performance in the last election and their prospects in the next election would plant some folks in the IRS to create this issue for Obama? Rich.
No, we have our own jerks.
Rich, that is a reach. And the maddening thing about this is you have a Republican Party that is doing a bang-up job destroying itself. And in its effort to keep its head above water, it has been trying to pull the Obama White House down as well. Not elevate itself, but bring Obama down. And what's so sad about this is rather that what the White House should be doing is doing its job in an exemplary fashion so that the people continue to see this are able to make a comparison between the Democratic Party that gets things done and the Republican Party that just stands around screaming impeach and scandal and horror and no, and not allowing anything to happen. The people have quite clearly seen this. It's evident in all the polls you see. So the sad thing here is that the White House gave them something of substance to hang on to with these two scandals. And I would, what I would do, I mean, Holder's gone if I'm running an administration. And the IRS, I don't know. Again, call for a huge independent inquiry. Okay, we got a caller. Hello, caller. Hello.
Good morning, ladies.
Hi.
This is Dave from Washington.
Hi, Dave.
Here's the way I see this. First off, this whole IRS thing appears to have been a low-level something or another because that bubbled up from underneath rather than a top-down directive. Because when the manager of that tax-exempt department heard about it, he allegedly told him immediately to stop it. So this is something that some lower-level managers that, first off, they're being inundated by these applications following Citizens United or whatever. They're getting inundated with thousands and thousands of these requests for nonprofit tax-exempt status.
Right.
And they notice that an awful lot of them all have the same names, Tea Party. And frankly, if you are going to take your group's identity from an illegal 18th century tax protest and your entire message of being your charisma is taxes are bad, you should expect a little extra scrutiny from the taxing body.
No, you shouldn't. That's the thing, though. You shouldn't. It's America. You can have whatever point of view you want, and you have the right to exercise it.
Well, okay, but it's certainly, in a perfect world, perhaps. But it certainly is understandable, and that's one of the first places you might expect a taxing body to go. Now, if they had taken those 70 or 100, whatever it was, groups that had Tea Party in their name, and they had also taken, if they could have found 70 groups that had, say, for instance, Move On in their name, which they probably didn't find 70, and they looked at both of them equally, then they would be fine. It's just that they did emphasize the one group without necessarily the other. But, it seems to have come from underneath, which doesn't excuse it. But it's not a top-down directive. It certainly didn't come from the White House. Let's keep an eye on these guys. I don't think the White House is even allowed to do that. They're not allowed to really get
No, they're not. But you know what? It doesn't matter at this point, Dave.
Yeah, I know. And the worst part, like you said, is it feeds the fevered paranoia of the right. It justifies. Now they can say, see, we told you.
Yeah.
It's just very disheartening. But you know what? We got 3.5 years. It's all going to blow over. I'm not that terribly worried about it right now. We'll see.
Okay. I wish I shared your nonchalance.
And then the AP thing, remember, these were not wiretaps. And again, not excusing this either. But these are not wiretaps. And I believe they had, FISA court warrants or something? They got warrants for these things. They're trying to find out who leaked this classified information.
They didn't get warrants.
They didn't get a warrant?
They did not get a court order?
No.
Oh. All right, well then, there might be an issue there.
Ah.
But, these are not wiretaps. All they wanted to know was who was being called and who was calling. They're trying to track down a security breach. And you can always say, hey, just trying to keep the country safe. I don't know if that's going to work either, but I'm not really that concerned about any of these. Fortunately, they happened pretty early on, and hopefully everybody will keep their noses clean for the next 3 years or so, and people still trust the Democrats a lot more than they trust the Republicans.
All right, you're in too good a mood today. Get lost. You're waiting for the Pens game, I can tell. You're already
Did you hear the schedule for the Pens games?
Huh?
Tuesday, Friday, Sunday, and then Wednesday.
Why draw it out that far? What is this?
I don't
ridiculous?
Know. It should be every other day, man. It should be every other day.
Yeah. I agree with you. All righty.
Anyway,
Toodaloo.
let's go, Pens.
Bye. I got to get
Now he's not in a good mood. Yeah, I mean...
okay, Suze, I got to get a break in here.
Okay.
We are running late. Okay, be right back.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
We will not be an easy target. We will never roll over and let pain plan our day. We will protect our bodies and fight back by moving. We will do our morning laps, walk our dogs around the block, pass up the elevator, and proudly take the stairs. Because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? To learn more, visit us at fightarthritispain.org. This message brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
Okie doke, I'll tell you what. Finally, Mother Nature's cooperating. The weather's warming up. Get over to the Urban Gardener. Do it today. What fun, what fun, what fun. They have everything you could want. Perennials and annuals and trees and shrubs and vines and fancy stuff to stick in your garden. And they specialize in urban gardens, which, you know, have to be maybe more compact, often have more shade, whatever. They will do design consultation with you. They'll even do maintenance for you if you're sort of a, you know, sit on your duff kind of a person. I love this place. Urban Gardener, 1901 Brighton Road. That's just right across the river on the north side. A hop, skip, and a jump from the stadium. 1901 Brighton Road. Check it. Go online and check them out because it's a fantastic website, urbangardenerpgh.com. And when you go and when your arms are filled with glorious flowers and you go to check out, do not forget to say, Lynn Cullen. There's money in that name for you. Lynn Cullen. You get a discount. You're welcome.
Pittsburgh City Paper is seeking 10 local artists to design their own street box for our second annual public art project to be featured throughout the city of Pittsburgh. Go to www.pghcitypaper.com and click on the Art Box link for more details. The Pittsburgh City Paper Art Box Project, brought to you by the Westmoreland and Hill House Association.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
Okay. Is that a call? That is a call. Hello, caller?
Hi, Lynn. It's Jeff in Greenfield.
Hi. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm not bad, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to be able to catch up with you. I know you got short on time, so I'll just make it quick.
Okay.
You had a guy who, and I can hardly hear you, just to let you know.
Okay.
But you had a guy that spoke, and it wouldn't surprise him that the Republicans are planted somebody in the IRS, and you kind of poo-pooed that. I think it's unlikely, but considering what Karl Rove has done in the past in Alabama, with James O'Keefe, Breitbart, the Dan Rather thing with Bush's military records, it would not surprise me one bit if that was found out, you know, years from now. It would not surprise me. And then the other thing is, wouldn't it be cool if, like, Obama just, like, kind of hung in there for another year and then did, like, a pope and just resigned and put Joe Biden in there?
Why would that be cool?
Don't you love Joe Biden?
Yeah, I like Joe Biden, but no, I wouldn't like that. I would not like that.
I thought it would be kind of interesting.
Also, that would complicate Hillary's ascension.
Yes, that's true. It would complicate Hillary's ascension.
That's correct.
Which I'm kind of wishing Hillary was in there right now. She got bigger cojones than Obama does.
Yeah, I think she does too.
Okay, well, I'll
you.
get going, and hi, Susan.
Hi.
Hi, thank you.
We'll have to catch up with you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.
Good to hear
Bye-bye.
from you. Okie doke. Suze?
Yes.
Okay, I have some lighter fare, which I promised. Did you hear about can you imagine being on a plane? You're going cross-country. You take off from LAX in Los Angeles, and you're heading to JFK in New York. And the captain informs you that you have to make an emergency landing in Kansas City. And it has nothing to do with the plane's got a mechanical problem. What it has to do with, you're very aware of, because it's in the cabin with you. And it's
a screaming kid?
Another passenger. It is not a screaming kid. It is a woman who would not stop singing Whitney Houston songs. What does it take to bring down a 747? She would not stop. The crew tried to stop her.
Did she have like a Tourette's thing?
I don't know. There was a federal marshal on the aircraft who subdued her, put her in cuffs, but she kept singing. And they decided that she was a threat to the crew, and which I don't think is true. But so they put down in Kansas City to get her off, and some passenger has a little video that they took as she is escorted out, and she's. You don't see her. You see her from the waist down because this guy's just got his cam. And as she's going past his seat, you hear, "And I will always be true." Oh, God. The passenger later blamed her little thing not on Tourette's but on diabetes.
She was hypoglycemic.
And maybe so. And does that make you nutty sometimes?
Well, it makes you a little crazy, yeah.
Yeah, so it could have been.
And it can make you manic.
Okay, so it could have been that.
Right before you crash.
Okay. So, but anyway.
Aww.
Oh, I'm thinking of all the passengers. My God! From Los Angeles to Kansas City. Okay, here's another wonderful little piece, slightly political. The Republican National Committee had appointed a guy to be the state director of Florida outreach to Hispanic voters. And obviously in Florida, that's a big job, right?
Right.
Trying to get all those Hispanics in Florida into the Republican fold. His name was Pablo Pantoja. Pablo, after trying to get his fellow Hispanics to become Republicans, threw up his hands yesterday and defected to the Democratic Party. Don't you love that?
Yes.
Okay, so the head of Hispanic outreach for the Republicans has decided, screw this. This is ridiculous. I'm becoming a Republican. I mean, a Democrat.
Well, he was,
Well, but there's a reason. I mean, he must have finally thought, you know what? Wait a minute. There's a reason I can't get any of my fellows to join up. Because they're right.
Right.
And he's quoted as saying, "I have wondered before about the seemingly harsh undertones about immigrants and others that the Republican Party, evidences." He says, "Look no further. A well-known organization recently confirms the entire..." Oh, he's talking about that Heritage Foundation thing.
About how Hispanics
are stupid. Yeah. God, I'll tell you... That was.
I mean, doesn't it amaze you that people, at quality institutions could continue to turn out these kind of documents?
But wait a minute, that can't
the current group that you want to defame.
Okay, but that cannot be a quality institution, the Heritage Foundation. I think that shows you something.
No. But the guy that wrote it came out of a quality institution.
Well, yeah, but you tell me. He got a PhD from Harvard for writing a dissertation that said that Hispanics were stupider?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time understanding it.
How does he get that through a Harvard? He has a Harvard PhD.
One wonders. They do suggest that once you get into that school, you just get A's.
Well, that's true too.
I mean, don't we know someone that got in trouble for grading students appropriately there?
Well, I know our brother I was talking to him just the other night, and he was saying something about how grade inflation at these schools is so outrageous that, a professor... First of all, a professor cannot give a C, cannot even give a B- anymore. A B is considered like failing a kid. That's how bad it is. Ridiculous. Nothing means...
And then because, students are now... asked to give feedback on professors, and I think Bill actually graded people before they gave their feedback, and Bill grades you. If you get a C in my brother's class, guess what?
He'll give you a C.
You get a C, and if you get a D, you get a D, and if you flunked, oops, you flunk. But unfortunately, he graded people before they graded him.
Oh, I'd love to. Are those public record? I'd love to see those.
No, I don't know. I remember him telling me about that. It was
Okay.
when he was teaching at one of those august institutions.
Okay, here is an email from Ray. Lynn, as much as I'm horrified by the Obama administration's ineptitude when dealing with scandals, and as much as I feel anyone should be free from IRS harassment, one thing pops into my mind. The Tea Party fanatics are livid with the IRS claim that the scrutiny was justified because the Tea Party applicants were the ones violating the rules. But these Tea Party people are often the same ones who promote profiling when it comes to skin color or religious affiliation. You can't have one sort of profiling while objecting to it when you are in the profile category. Okay, well, I don't think...
Well, I mean, that's always the ACLU's argument when
Right.
they're
taking on an unpopular,
protecting Nazis and stuff.
That's right.
No, it doesn't. They get to talk because when they come for you,
that's right.
You're going to want us to defend you.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's true, but it's again, this lowest common denominator stuff is upsetting to me.
Yeah. I want to, before we run out of time, and we almost have, note the passing of Dr. Joyce Brothers, who was this ubiquitous presence during our childhoods. Right, Suze? I mean, she was on every show you turned to.
She always used to aggravate not to speak ill of the dead.
Well, a little bit, yeah, me too, but she really did. She was a pretty, I can't believe what I want to say, impactful figure.
Oh, no, she was. And she actually brought, the
psychology
the concept of therapy out into the real world.
Right, exactly right. So the psychologist should, make a monument to her. And she was not an idiot. She, in fact, was extremely bright. That's how she first came into our awareness, because she was the one of only two people to actually win that quiz show, the $64,000 question. And when the $64,000 question got itself in trouble, you'll recall.
Right, it was fixed.
Because people said it was fixed, she got called before the grand jury. And listen to what they did to her in the grand jury. They peppered her with extraordinarily difficult questions about boxing, because that was her specialty. Boxing. And she got every single one right. She never in any way was tainted by that scandal. She realized she needed money because her husband was a resident making $50 a week. And she thought, geez, we need to make some money. She thought, I'll go on the $64,000 question and win $64,000. And that's exactly what she did. She also figured out that what the $64,000 question clearly liked was they liked a contestant who had some subject knowledge that seemed unusual for that person. And so she decided, because she was a little, attractive blonde, that she would learn everything there was to know about boxing. And so she just studied. She said, like if you were doing a dissertation, she studied, wrote every book, read every book, blah, 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 blah. And then I guess on the $64,000 question, you got to pick your category. And hers was boxing. And some of the questions that she answered to win the $64,000, listen to what she knew. She knew the name of the glove that Roman gladiators wore. Okay? By the way, that's a cestus. She knew Primo Carnera's opponent in his heavyweight title defense in 1933. And that was Paolino Uzcudon. And she knew the name of the essayist who wrote about having seen Bill Neat defeat Thomas Hickman on December 11th, 1821. William Hazlitt. She knew it all. She knew
what's amazing, I mean, I could read all those books, but I wouldn't remember it.
You wouldn't
all.
remember. They said she had an absolute steel trap memory. And she also had the ability, they say, to laugh at herself. So she would appear on like silly shows later on in life and play herself, showing that she, didn't
take herself so seriously.
Right. So I mean, you gotta say I was a pretty dang impressive woman, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that. And then I want to leave you with a word of wisdom because we're over time and Susan's going to yell at me. This is from Mark Twain, who I love. The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you figure out why.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
But sometimes you never get to that second part.
No.
And even if you do, other people might not agree.
Or you might have gotten there and not know it.
Well, that's true, too. But I thought it was a heavy-duty thing to leave you with. Now you ponder that. Suze?
Yeah?
I hate your baseball team. I just want to say that. But I don't...
Sorry. They came out from under the rock sooner than usual.
Screw them. We're having a hell of a season, and you're always looking at your butts. I'm sick of it.
We choose this year to have the best record in baseball, I think.
The hell with you. That's all I want to say. And now
well, we usually fall apart somewhere.
All right.
Hang in there.
All right, we are. And I want you to give. I want you in a more what do you call that? A generous spirit than I have just evidenced to wish our Pittsburgh Penguins well tonight.
Yeah.
I don't suppose your St. Louis Blues are in the playoffs.
No, we got knocked out.
Yeah, right. That's a big shock. Okay.
Yeah, right.
All right. Suze, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And the rest of you, I'll see you tomorrow. Chris Potter joining me. Toodaloo.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.